All right, folks, let's see if we can get in a few interviews with some of these people who are suffering from long COVID.
I'm not going to discuss my vaccine status.
But why wouldn't you want to disclose if you've been vaccinated or not?
That's not the topic today.
Did you end up taking?
Well, that's irrelevant. It's not relevant if I've taken a vaccine or not.
Didn't I interview you before about long COVID?
Potentially, I have long COVID, and I'm the typical young person that was previously healthy. I only had one mild infection in December 2021, and 20 months later, I'm still suffering from symptoms.
Okay.
I think we gave some interviews, so I think...
Yeah, I interviewed her once before about long COVID,
Perfect.
so I was just... Sorry.
Can you just not film my kids, please?
I mean, we're in a public space. You don't have any expectation of privacy in a public space, but...
Yeah, well...
I mean, if you're bringing them out to a protest to raise awareness,
Yeah.
there's going to be cameras. There's a lot of other video cameras here.
Yeah, okay.
Did you ask Global the same thing?
This is my husband. He almost died of COVID, so
Okay.
you're barking up the wrong tree.
And
so
it
you
was
can leave now.
March of 2020.
Barking up the wrong tree
there
by
was-
what?
there
Asking
was-
questions? This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth. We're here in downtown Vancouver today because there is a protest happening right behind me right now where about 24 people or so are trying to raise awareness about what they feel is long COVID, an illness that they've had for many years now. Now, the website mentions that they would like to battle and tackle misinformation that is spreading around about long COVID. So today I wanted to ask some of them if they've heard of a recent Yale University study that would suggest a link between long COVID and PVS, or post-vaccination syndrome. So let's see how many of these people are willing to even consider that there may be a connection there, and how many of them want to let me know if they think it could be from the vaccine or not. Are you guys here for the event today? Yeah. Would you mind if I do a quick interview for you? I'm just trying to cover it for my channel. Because it's called raising awareness or something about like that, right? Oh, okay. No worries.
My name is Nicole Rogers, and I have been sick with long COVID for 5 years now. Emotional already. My body is not producing enough energy to get through the day. I need to lie down between 17 and 22 hours each and every day. It feels like I'm slowly being poisoned. Here in Canada, we are used to politely waiting and trusting, relying on our doctors and medical system for help and answers. Well, here we are 5 years into this ongoing pandemic. Our doctors don't know how to help us. Many of them don't believe us. The polite waiting has not gotten us anywhere. Canada is far behind when it comes to the diagnosis, treatment, and support of people with long COVID. Long COVID is the most important health crisis of our time. It is a mass disabling event. I challenge every government official, especially those from the Ministry of Health, to say these two words together: long COVID.
Hi. Just wondering if you'd be up for doing an interview with me. I'm just curious about what this is all about today.
Who are you with?
PFT News, Press for Truth. Awesome. So yeah, maybe you could start with your name and just tell us what is the event about? What brings you out today?
My name is Nicole Rogers, and today we're trying to bring awareness to the 3.5 million Canadians who are suffering with long COVID across Canada. And we need help from the government now.
You said there's 3.5 million Canadians who are suffering from long COVID? That seems like a pretty big number.
It is, absolutely. We know there's 400 million people worldwide and 3.5 million here in Canada.
Okay. One of the reasons why this piques my curiosity is because of a study that I was just informed of that came out about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I believe, from Yale University. And it talks about something called PSV, I believe it's called, or PVS, post-vaccination syndrome. Have you heard of this study and the correlation that some are saying there might be a connection between people who've had the vaccine and something that is similar to long COVID?
I've definitely heard of that. We know there is post-vaccine syndrome as well, but there's a great majority of us that got sick before the vaccine. So I got sick in March of 2020, which is a full year before the vaccines were even available. We need to look at both issues, absolutely.
So you got sick from COVID in March 2020, pretty early, and then got vaccinated a year later?
I'm not going to discuss my vaccine status.
Sorry, I thought that's what you said. Sorry.
No. Vaccines were not available until 2021, so there's a large number of us that are first waivers that got sick in March of 2020, April 2020.
I noticed the website for this event mentions about tackling misinformation and things like that. So a lot of people are curious of the numbers. If there's 3.5 million, how many of those people have been vaccinated? And is there a reason why you wouldn't want to discuss or disclose that when it's pretty relevant?
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to start the conversation. That's why we're here today, is to talk to the government and get support for anyone who's sick.
But why wouldn't you want to disclose if you've been vaccinated or not?
That's not the topic today.
Well, I mean, the reason why I ask is because shouldn't that be something to consider when it comes to long COVID and the experimental, shots that were taken? Isn't it possible there's a connection?
I can only speak for myself that I got sick in March of 2020. I've been sick for 5 years.
Wow. I hope you get better. What are the hopes of coming out of this today in the coming weeks or months or however, what are you guys hoping to achieve today? Is it just about raising awareness of the issue in the first place, or?
We're raising awareness of long COVID, and we're hoping to start the conversation with government to get funding and support for people who are suffering, people who are unable to work. They are unable to take care of themselves some days.
All right, thank you so much for talking to us. Hello.
Hi.
Just wondering if you'd be up for doing a short little interview with me as well.
Sure.
Just curious of what brings
from?
PFT News. It's Press for Truth.
Oh, Press for Truth.
Yeah. So just curious of what brings you out here today and what this is all about.
So is this can you tell me about, I don't know this Press for Truth.
It's just an independent media outlet that it's literally just me.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, what was the question?
Just first of all, what brings you out here today? And kind of what's the event about? I saw the website's about raising awareness.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so this is to raise awareness for long COVID. This is post-viral illness that occurs and organ damage and whatnot that occurs after COVID infections. This is something that hasn't been addressed a lot by the media or by government. And there's so many of us that have been damaged and harmed and had our lives catastrophically changed from having a COVID infection. And we need to talk about it. We need people to know about it. We need government support, we need treatment options, we need research funding, all of these things. So
there's a lot of pillowcases here. What kind of numbers are we talking about? Or I mean, do you know that? Is there some sort of stat on how many people in Canada are dealing with it?
I don't know about Canada, but at the end of 2023, the most recent stat I've read is worldwide there's 400 million people who are dealing with long COVID. So it's a huge amount of people and more all the time. Every COVID infection comes with a risk of damage and post-viral illness. Hi.
Yeah, so what are the hopes of today's event? Is it purely about raising awareness?
Yeah, it's really to raise awareness because this is just something like a lot of people who have long COVID are too sick to show up and protest in the streets or to be out there, yelling about it. So we really kind of get swept under the rug.
Okay. One thing I was curious about that popped up, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, a study that came out of Yale University. I don't know if you've heard of that one, about it's sort of making a correlation between PVS, post-vaccination syndrome, and something similar to long COVID, I guess. What have you heard of that study and your thoughts on it?
So I have heard about that study, and definitely, vaccine injury is a thing. It exists across the board with all vaccinations. I am a long hauler from before vaccines existed. So, and there's a lot like me from 2020, the very beginning of the pandemic. So, there's a lot of people out there who will try and say that it's all vaccine related. It's not.
So you got sick from COVID that's been lasting this long before the vaccines came out?
Correct. Yeah. Before vaccines existed.
And they came out like a year after or something? Okay.
Yeah.
And did you end up taking?
Well, that's irrelevant. It's not relevant if I've taken a vaccine or not because I got long COVID in 2020 before vaccines existed.
Yeah, my wife has long COVID, and it was way before the vaccine.
Yeah, is this your wife?
No.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just read the pillowcases. All the stories are there.
I know the paper that you're talking about, and I think it's great. People who are vaccine injured need to be acknowledged and included for sure. But, that's not like. There's a lot of people that are trying to angle that all long COVID is related to the vaccination. It's just simply not true.
Because I noticed, the website mentions trying to fight misinformation, I guess. Is that what it's referring to?
The
website for this event said it wants to tackle misinformation. Is that part of?
I mean, Absolutely. There's so much, obviously, misinformation and inflammatory disinformation around the pandemic, and us who are suffering with post-viral illness now or post-vaccine syndrome, we're just very disappeared from society, and, we need to be acknowledged. Everybody who's suffering and sick needs to be acknowledged. So.
Well, I appreciate you having an open and dialogue with me, because I recall back around the time when they first came out, I had a friend who out of nowhere went deaf in one ear.
Yeah.
And I remember asking him, it was shortly after he took the vaccine, so I asked him, did you ask your doctor if there's potential connection? Yeah. And he got extremely offended that I would even dare ask the question. And it's interesting to me that people have that position, that they don't even want to look into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely a possibility for sure. And I think the thing that is quite difficult is because if somebody had a COVID infection and then a vaccination in close proximity, it's hard to say what exactly happened there with the immune system, but there's damages, and that's what counts. So I think that study is a very interesting study, and it's important to look at people who have long COVID that may be vaccine induced, but a lot of us just are virally induced, and that I think is more common. So yeah.
Oh. Hey, brother. Can I talk? Can we talk for a sec? Sure. Okay. What's up? Are you you're coming here and wanting to talk? And I'm totally fine with that. Mm-hmm. But am I on video? I'm totally fine to be on video.
Yeah.
Because I totally want to have a discussion.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do here, or what are you trying to accomplish here?
Just curious of what people are coming out for today, what the whole event's all about. I noticed the website said it's about raising awareness.
Yeah. Okay.
So
fair enough.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And reason so, and what did you learn today?
I learned that apparently there's, I think I heard 4.5 million Canadians that are
3.5.
3.5, yeah, or maybe it was 400 million worldwide, and 3.5 Canadians, which shocked me.
Yeah, it did too.
About the numbers.
Yeah.
But obviously, I am asking some people questions about a recent study that came out. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
From Yale University.
Okay.
About PDS, post-vaccination syndrome. It just came out about a month ago.
Yeah.
And whether or not there's potentially a correlation there or not.
Oh yeah, there's probably is some. I'm not sure. I am not an expert. I am not a doctor. So I have nothing really to add to that point.
Right.
Like in Yale, it's a reputable thing.
Yeah.
What did you get from that? I haven't read it, so I can't even speak to it. So.
Right. Well, it suggests that there's potentially a correlation there in the timing of what people are experiencing as long COVID, and what may be potentially coming from the vaccines themselves.
Oh, that could be the case. Saying that too. I am not an expert on this.
Yeah.
My wife was affected by it. I didn't get COVID. I had been vaccinated once. I didn't get more vaccinations. So I don't know what, like, I'm not sure if I should be recorded or to, like, what I can add to it. I'm just a regular person.
I hear you. Yeah,
right?
yeah, cool.
So
You're just kind of coming out to support the
I'm
cause.
just coming out to support my wife.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
Because I know my wife is a truthful person.
Yeah.
And she was affected by it.
Yeah.
So vaccines or stuff like that, I don't know where this all, because it's super complex conversation.
Infected before the vaccines.
Well, she was infected before the vaccines came
she
out.
was a school-
I did notice a lot of people are saying the same thing.
Yeah, like she was a school teacher.
Right.
And she got infected because she was brought into, she had to go back into work.
Right.
At that point in time, no one knows it, and most teachers are great people just trying to help out kids.
Yeah.
Right? But I think, so what happened is she got sick, her colleague got sick too that worked with her. I think her colleague got better after like 2 months.
Right.
And my wife didn't, you know, and so.
Well, the website for the event talks about battling misinformation. And I got to say, I find it interesting. I did have a friend who shortly after getting vaccinated actually went deaf in one ear. So I asked him, did you ask your doctor whether or not it could be possibly coming from this experimental vaccine that you took? And he got extremely offended and said, you know, basically, how dare you even ask me that? And my thoughts are, isn't this something you should ask your doctor? Like, you know.
Yeah, I get it. You know,
seems to be hostility on the other side. For some
I
reason.
think what it is people here who got affected. Like I hear some people's stories and they were emotional, and I think what happens for some people is we don't have everyone has their own experience. Some of these are traumatic.
Yeah.
And like I didn't wear a mask today, but I see everyone else wearing a mask today. I get, you know, and they have their own ideas about that. And I respect that for what that is. Because I guess if you get so sick that I see my wife where she can't get out of bed for the last 4 years, not every day, some days she can, some days she can't. And I think that's something that we really just got to go, okay, I know it's your truth that you're living.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, so in my sort of roundabout way, people have their trigger, because I think some people have really been harmed by whatever this has come in.
Fair enough.
And that's the only thing.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the only thing is, I think some people have really dealt with a lot of trauma here. We're all degrees, right? Some people have a higher
I certainly don't
threshold.
want to come across as insensitive.
Okay,
That's
the thing.
I'm trying my best
Trying to be insensitive to it all.
Yeah.
Because most people
I
are
get
good
it.
people.
I
That's the
understand.
thing.
I
So
understand.
if they ask us to go to space,
I appreciate your concern. I get it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, man.
I hope I'm not interrupting your live stream, but didn't I interview you before about long COVID?
Potentially. Time is a bit busy with this.
Okay.
I think we gave some interviews, so I think.
Yeah, I interviewed her once before about
Great,
long COVID,
perfect.
so I was just. That was bizarre. I interviewed this one once before. He told me she had long COVID, which was years ago. She's still here. They were demanding mandatory masks, and then some guy was against that, and they attacked them. Interestingly enough, there is a girl here who I interviewed once before who told me about her situation with long COVID, and that was a protest that was seeking to bring back mask mandates in Vancouver, if you can believe that. And one man showed up to that rally with a sign suggesting that everything that these people are pushing for is misinformation. They ended up attacking that man because he had a different opinion than them. Do you want to talk about what you're doing here?
I can speak a little bit, yes.
Okay, cool. What brings you out today?
Yes, I'm here because I have long COVID, and I'm the typical young person that was previously healthy. I only had one mild infection in December 2021. And 20 months later, I'm still suffering from symptoms. I've had to leave both my jobs. I used to be a master's student at SFU. My life has completely changed. I can't exercise anymore. It takes me 1 to 2 days to recover every time I leave the house. And there's no public health warning or communication about long COVID in this province. And it really is a shame because when the WHO has said that at least 1 in 10 infections lead to post-COVID condition, aka long COVID, this is quite serious. It's not a public health emergency. And on top of that, when masks have been removed in healthcare, there's literally no safe place that I can access medical care at all without fear of being reinfected. Especially when COVID-19resources.ca, held by Tara Moriarty, has said 1 in 33 people in BC right now are currently infected with COVID.
Is there something you wanted to say?
I'm just making sure that you're not getting too far into her face.
That's going to be enough for today. Thank you.
Why are you cutting off this? She said she's willing to talk to me. Why are you blocking my interview?
A dodgy outlet. So.
What? You said you wanted to talk to. Press for Truth. It's pressfortruth.ca. Yeah. I was actually curious on people's thoughts on a new study that was just released by the National Institute of Health about N95 masks.
Nobody else wants an interview, so you need to back away.
Okay. So you're not going to be speaking with CBC or any of the other news outlets that are here today?
We're not speaking with you right now. We're setting up. Please back away.
Yeah, well, I'm free to stand right here. You can keep putting your sign in my face all you like.
Put your camera over there and take the picture. We've taken your video already.
Yeah, this is a free sidewalk, sir. You can put your sign in my face all you want, but yeah. Why the hostility, sir? I'm just trying to get your viewpoint and ask some questions.
Are you, sir? Just asking questions?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I regret that so many people are taken in by pseudoscience and conspiracy theory. Okay,
but there was a study that was just published by the National Institute of Health that suggests that N95 masks have TVOCs in them. This is toxic organic compounds. They say that it could cause nausea and headaches, but in prolonged cases, it could even cause organ failure and cancers. This is released by the National Institute of Health, not conspiracy.
I believe you're mistaking things being present on the NIH website with a publication of the NIH.
This was a study conducted in South Korea just in the spring and republished by the National Institute of Health, just suggesting that there's organic compounds that could lead to cancers. Prolonged use.
Respectfully, sir, I don't think you understand the nature of your sources.
So the interviews with CT City News is okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, why's that? You don't want a rational conversation? No. Just want to force people to wear masks, eh?
We are willing to have rational conversations with people who are acting in good faith. We do not believe
people who confirm your bias. Is that what?
That is not an accurate characterization. No. We have reason to believe you're not acting in good faith, and so we have no further comment. I have no further comment.
Well, you could set me straight with some facts.
Respectfully, sir, I don't think you're acting in good faith, so I don't choose to respond further to your questioning.
And let's continue to... Hey!
Easy, guys, easy.
You're fucking done. You're fucking done.
Guys.
Stay the fuck down. You're done. He attacked him.
Alright, I don't know what the hell's happening here. Leave it, let him go, dude. Let him go. Why are you blocking my camera? Don't want people to see what happens at these things?
Can you not film my family, please? My kids?
What's that?
Can you just not film my kids, please?
I mean, we're in a public space. You don't have any expectation of privacy in a public space, but
Yeah, well.
I mean, if you're bringing them out to a protest to raise awareness,
Yeah.
there's going to be cameras. There's a lot of other video cameras here.
Yeah, okay.
Did you ask Global the same thing? I mean, is it not a valid point?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you're free to do what you want.
Yeah, it's a valid point. You're okay with Global and City and all the other guys. What's wrong with me? You don't want people asking questions?
Ask me a question.
Well, the reason why I was curious about today's event is because of this recent Yale University study about PVS, post-vaccination syndrome. it apparently made a correlation between the two.
Maybe, but not in my wife's case. So.
This is my husband. He almost died of COVID, so you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, and
so
it was
you can leave now.
March of 2020.
Barking up the wrong tree by what? Asking questions?
There was no vaccines when my wife got sick. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going from my experience.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Well, there's another example of the hostility that comes from the other side when you simply try to ask some questions.
Yeah. I know, I'm so hostile.
Well, your wife was blocking my camera view. I don't think she did that for the other news outlets.
Well, yeah, no.
Yeah. And that's unfortunately the kind of stuff that we're talking about. There's a great deal of hostility that comes from the other side when you dare to question their following of the science. A lot of this is because Justin Trudeau absolutely divided society here in Canada into two factions. He pitted the unvaxxed against the vaccinated, and unfortunately, they start taking it out on the wrong people sometimes. Well, there you have it, folks. Some of them were willing to consider that there may possibly be a correlation between vaccines and this thing that they call long COVID, or in other words, what I'm calling long vax. But many of them would still not disclose their vaccination status, considering it to be irrelevant, when I think it's pretty much one of the most important questions they should be asking their doctors about what on earth is happening to them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, and if you do appreciate my efforts to constantly bring you this information, please check out the top link in the description below to where you can find me at pressfortruth.ca/donate. That's all for today, guys. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Please click the thumbs up button, share this video, and stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.